Thugs cornered a single mom at a gas station. Bikers' arrival shocked everyone. Rain fell in heavy sheets that night, turning the gas station lot into a slick, mirror-like reflection of flickering neon signs. Laura, a single mom in her early 30s, gripped her toddler's hand tightly as she dashed from the car to the convenience store. Her little boy Max clung to her side, eyes wide with excitement from the candy aisle, but the excitement didn't last. Two men loomed by the pumps, their jackets soaked, faces twisted in smirks. "Hey, lady, that wallet's looking pretty heavy," one of them jeered. Laura froze, heart hammering. She tried to step past, but they blocked her path. Max whimpered, and she felt the cold wash of fear she hadn't felt since she lost her husband. "Just give it up," the second thug said, closing in. Laura's mind raced. There was no one around. The clerk had ducked behind the counter and the rain masked any sounds. But she couldn't let them hurt Max. Not tonight. Then a distant rumble of engines grew louder, shaking the wet asphalt. Laura squinted through the sheets of rain. A group of bikers, rain-soaked and roaring like a thunderstorm, skidded to a stop around the thugs. The men froze, unsure whether to flee or fight. The bikers dismounted, leather jackets gleaming, each one tall, strong, and silently intimidating. The leader, a woman with streaks of silver in her hair, stepped forward. "Leave her alone," she said, calm but commanding. The thugs glanced at each other, panic flickering in their eyes. "It's just a woman and a kid," one muttered. "Yeah," the leader said, voice sharp. "And we don't stand for bullies." The thugs bolted into the rainy night, slipping and sliding across the asphalt, leaving Laura and Max trembling, but unharmed. The bikers gathered around her, offering warm smiles and dry towels. One of the younger bikers knelt to Max's level, holding out a small toy he'd pulled from his backpack. "Here, little guy. You okay?" Max's eyes lit up and he hugged the stranger tightly, forgetting the fear he'd just felt. Laura felt tears sting her eyes. She had been so used to struggling alone, surviving each day for Max, that she'd almost forgotten there were people willing to step in. Strangers who could show extraordinary kindness when the world felt cruel. "Thank you," she whispered, voice trembling. I don't know how to repay you." The leader shook her head. "You don't owe us anything. Just remember this feeling, and maybe, one day, pass it forward." Laura watched as the bikers revved their engines and disappeared into the storm, leaving the night quieter, the air lighter, and her heart a little fuller. In that moment, she realized humanity could be found in the most unexpected places, even in a circle of leather-clad strangers on a rainy night. Driving home, Max asleep on her shoulder, Laura smiled. She had faced fear and been met with compassion. And she knew, no matter what storms came their way, kindness would always find its way back. The next morning, the storm had passed, leaving the streets glistening under the early sun. Laura sat at the kitchen table, a cup of coffee warming her hands while Max finger-painted at the counter. She kept replaying last night in her mind, how terrifying it had been, and yet how unexpectedly beautiful the kindness had been. She couldn't stop thinking about the bikers, strangers who had risked so much for them. Something stirred inside her, a feeling she hadn't felt in a long time. Hope, not the fragile kind that flickers and dies at the first challenge, but a steady, quiet hope that there were still good people in the world. Just then, a soft knock echoed at the door. Laura opened it cautiously. Standing there, dripping from the morning drizzle, was the silver-haired biker leader. "Morning," she said, holding out a small envelope. Laura blinked. Hi, is everything okay?" The woman smiled gently. "We wanted to make sure you had this." She handed Laura the envelope. Inside was a gift card, enough to cover groceries for a month, and a small note. "For you and Max. Keep passing kindness forward." Laura's throat tightened. She wanted to say something, but words failed her. Max, however, tugged at her sleeve. "Mom, they're heroes," he said, eyes wide with admiration. Laura realized the truth. Courage and compassion didn't just protect in a single moment. They planted seeds. Max would remember this forever. And one day he might do the same for someone else, passing the chain of kindness forward. Later that day, Laura stopped by the gas station, not for fuel, but to thank the clerk who had ducked behind the counter in fear. She left a little note on the counter, something simple. "You did your best. and that's brave too. As she walked to her car, she noticed the bikers' motorcycles parked down the street, silent and gleaming. No fanfare, no recognition, just quiet heroes who had made a difference in lives they would likely never see again. Laura took a deep breath, feeling a wave of gratitude and determination. The world could be harsh, yes, but it could also be beautiful, if people chose to act with courage and kindness. She held Max close and whispered, "One day, we'll help someone the way they helped us." And in that small, ordinary act of remembering, of choosing hope over fear, Laura knew that the world, though messy, chaotic, and unpredictable, was still worth believing in. Days passed, and life slowly returned to its usual rhythm. Laura went to work, Max to school, and the memory of the gas station incident seemed to settle into a quiet corner of her mind. Yet every time she thought of those bikers, a spark of courage and gratitude warmed her chest. One Saturday, Laura decided to take Max to the local park. He ran ahead, laughing as he chased a stray dog, and Laura felt the rare peace of a mother watching her child play without fear. She sat on a bench and pulled out her phone, scrolling through old photos she had long forgotten, pictures of her late husband, memories of family moments that once felt ordinary, but now seemed precious. A sudden sound of engines made her look up. Her heart skipped, but it wasn't a threat this time. A group of bikers rolled slowly past, waving at Max, who cheered and ran to greet them. Among them, the silver-haired leader smiled at Laura, tipping her helmet in a small, quiet salute. After they rode off, Laura noticed a small envelope lying on the bench where she had been sitting. She opened it to find a simple note. "Courage isn't just for us. It's in you too. Remember, kindness is contagious. Pass it on." Laura hugged Max tightly. The realization hit her. This wasn't just about a scary night at a gas station. It was about the reminder that even in ordinary lives, extraordinary courage exists, and compassion can ripple endlessly. Weeks later, Laura found herself in a position to help someone else, a young mother struggling to carry groceries in a heavy rainstorm. Without hesitation, she ran out, helping carry the bags just like the bikers had helped her. As she handed the bags to the grateful mother, Laura realized something profound. The kindness she had received had now become a part of her, ready to be shared. That evening, sitting by Max's bedside, she whispered, "One act of courage, one act of kindness can change everything." Max smiled, eyes heavy with sleep. "Like superheroes, Mom?" Laura nodded, holding him close. "Exactly like superheroes." And in that quiet, tender moment, she understood. True heroism wasn't just in grand gestures or dramatic rescues. It was in showing up for someone else even when it's inconvenient or risky, and in passing that kindness forward, one small act at a time. As Laura and Max walked home that afternoon, the rain had eased to a soft drizzle. Max, clutching his little umbrella, skipped alongside his mother, chattering about how heroes could be anyone, like the bikers, or even someone helping carry groceries. Laura smiled, realizing he had already absorbed the lesson she wanted him to carry. Kindness and courage were contagious. Back at home, Laura unpacked the groceries she had helped the young mother carry. She noticed a small handwritten note tucked into one of the bags. "Thank you. Your help made a scary day better for me and my little one." Her heart swelled. In that moment, she understood something profound. Courage and compassion didn't just exist in dramatic, high-stakes moments. They thrived in everyday choices, in small acts of care, in noticing someone who needed help and stepping in. Later that evening, Laura tucked Max into bed. He yawned, already sleepy, but he whispered, "Mom, maybe we can be superheroes too." Laura kissed his forehead, brushing a stray strand of hair from his eyes. "Yes, Max, we already are." She leaned back in the doorway, watching him drift off to sleep, thinking about the bikers' unexpected arrival, the fear they had survived, and the ripple of kindness that had followed. That night, Laura felt a quiet but powerful determination bloom inside her. She would continue this chain of compassion, passing it forward whenever and wherever she could. The next morning, the sun rose over a calm, glistening city. Laura and Max stepped outside for a walk. Their neighborhood seemed brighter, not just from the morning light, but from the renewed sense of hope in their hearts. They waved to neighbors, helped a man with his groceries, and Max even shared his small toy with a friend at the park. The world hadn't changed overnight, But Laura knew that little by little, one act of courage and kindness could make all the difference.